We're going to talk about how many ETFs should you own, not the ones that you should be having, but more how to kind of lay it out properly. Now, even if you've got 6 or 7, you are probably overlapping a lot, and you need to kind of see the data and the information instead of just picking names out of a hat. But let me know in the comments, how many ETFs do you own? And more importantly, do you feel that you're diversified enough? Let's get into this one. Now, the simplest answer for most UK investors, you probably need 2 or 3 max, I think, anyway. And I'm going to explain why. And I think we've got to look at a couple of concepts, because I am going to outline one strategy. I'm going to outline the 2 or 3 strategy. I'm going to outline why it makes sense, and more importantly, the overlapping dangers. But the one thing that I think is often misled is money makes money. Accumulation funds, the more money you got in them, the better they are, realistically, because you're going to get paid more. And more importantly, if you're in the income side, the more you got in those, the more you're going to get paid, right? If you've got 7 or 8 just darted about all over the place, you're relying more on growth than income and obviously the accumulation. And yeah, you may well be looking and feeling diversified, but you're not. And this is the situation, right? Even on, and I said in my previous video on Tuesday, feel free to subscribe for more videos so you don't miss out, by the way, just saying. You're going to look at that chart and you're going to be confused, because I talked about individual ones. So you had the S&P, the All World, all that. There's many different ones within each one, right? So obviously here you got the Accumulation Distribution Fund, the 2 most popular funds, S&P. And then you got the All World. If you buy, and I'll showcase it in a more detail in a second, if you buy those, or even one-on-one, you're going to have the exact same fund, pretty much, for most of it. And again, going further down, you've got more FTSE All World, you've got another provider there, you've got the S&P 500 again, Information Technology World, you get the idea. It becomes a bit daunting, and this is not a nice looking bit of information for anyone. And again, you can go on to like the most traded, the most bought, the most, whatever, right? It just becomes a bit noddy, and that becomes an issue. And again, you could talk about real estate stuff, and I know I'm only talking about real estate because I've had a few comments about it. Yeah, you're going to have the same situation on any type of fund when you look on Trading 212. So you need to do a lot more research. But let's get into the nitty gritty. Strategy number 1, and the most obvious strategy, is one ETF tracking the entire world. Now on the screen, this is just ETF actually, the best all world funds essentially. And there's different types. There's 11 in total realistically on here. And it showcases obviously the overall performance and why they're good, the different types of providers, and obviously you've got developed and emerging markets, fine. This one's got 23 developed markets and 24 emerging markets. There's a little bit more with that one. But as I say, right, this is entirely up to you, as I say. There's different vibes. So if we go on to this SBDR one, it's got 2,280. It's an accumulation fund, quite good cost realistically, and it's physical, it's all right. Now, when you look at the holdings, it is 25% weighted to the top 10, S&P 500 pretty much. You got Japan in here, you got China in here, United Kingdom, but mainly still the US. And this is where we come down to it. That's fine because it's the biggest market. That's okay. But as I say, and you'll find out later on, and I've talked about this before in previous videos, if you then add the NASDAQ, if you then add the S&P, and I will showcase it, you will get the exact copy. So stick around, you'll see fully why this is a problem. But if you are a beginner and you don't have any other funds and you're just starting out, one ETF is not lazy, it's efficient, it's correct. If you're okay with being average and following these sort of performances, you'll be pretty damn happy with those results over the course of time versus, say, putting your money in a savings account, as an example. Now, the second strategy you can look at is a 2 or a 3 sort of vibe, realistically. Now, this is where it gets a little bit nitty-gritty. It's entirely up to you. Now, if you want to do this in the right way, I would recommend splitting your portfolio up quite nicely. Now, I would always recommend, if you are looking at ETFs, always cover the global market for everything, realistically. So have your core holding, as I say, as one of these. All world, right? It covers everything. It reduces the volatility. It makes it a little bit easy to manage. So even if that is 70 to 90% of your entire portfolio bag in one all world fund, that is the easiest and most efficient way of doing things for obvious reasons. Now, you've got different tilts you can go for. Now, these are options. These are not absolutes, but I'm going to give you 3 obvious ones. The first obvious tilt would be, as I say, the NASDAQ. technology. Everyone's absolutely ramming it down the throat of every single influencer these days. Oh, you should be in the NASDAQ. I don't agree fully, but if you are young, if you want growth, this is where you go, pretty much. Just saying. Or the S&P 500, give or take. Now, again, it's different. It depends on you. For me, I'm not too bothered about it. It is the US pretty much. It is higher on fees. It's one of those. However, as I say, performance can be a little bit ropey. It could be great. It could be crap. It's just the volatility of it. But as I say before, you do have mainly the US in here, obviously. You do have a lot of the top 10 weighted very heavy. So put it this way, if Nvidia, Apple, Microsoft, Broadcom do CAC, you're going to have a bad day. So that's one option. The second option is income, obviously. You know, we got to look at the situation where people look at income funds, and that is a good tilt to have if you're interested. Now, again, it's entirely up to you. The one I have is actually this one. It's the top one at the minute, but there's many different ones. You can have an all world version of it. You can have the developed markets version of it, as I say. You can have whatever, right? And these are designed, and it's entirely up to you, right? This one is not what you want to go for. Just a bit of a clarification, because people ask me questions. Do not go for synthetic funds. Always go for physical, because it's basically an IOU contract. Don't do that. So make sure you do your research on that. Going back to it, developed markets. Now, this is the one that I've got. Now, this one, again, it's not perfect. It is physical, but it is in another country, so they use withholding tax. However, that's been said, there's 100 holdings. They are developed markets and they are dividend-related funds. It actually does all right, realistically. But as you can imagine, you got a bit of everything in here. It's a little bit neater and tidier, and it does allow you to have different sort of holdings. It's a bit more diversified. It's got much better sectors as well. However, it's got amazing growth, as you can see. It's done really, really well. Dividend stocks do better longer term if you are thinking about a strong structural company, all that kind of stuff. I know they're not loved by everyone, but as an income kind of situation, if you have, say, 20% of your portfolio dedicated to income, that's not a bad thing to have, realistically. But then the other tilt could be home bias. Oh, people don't do this enough. And most of my portfolio, and you'll see my portfolio in a minute, it is very much kind of heavy towards Europe and UK with 22 or 23% America. So it's nowhere near as crazy as some portfolios you see. But if you're in England, and I know the weather's crap, and I know there's certain things happening, it's not great, but why not have a little bit of home bias? You don't have to have a lot, 5%, 10%, whatever it is, up to you. Obviously, it's your portfolio. But in terms of how many portfolios you should have, why not have a global fund? Why not have an income fund and maybe the FTSE 100 as an example? Or, other variations, so be it. It keeps it simple. It keeps it quite easy to hold, realistically. And you don't have to worry too much about it, because when we talk about diversification and the overlap, you'll see very quickly what I mean. But the important thing I just want to mention before I go and talk about something else, the psychology is the tilt should never dominate your portfolio. If you've got a plan to be income, that's fine. But if, for example, with mine, and I've got like quite a heavy, say for example, if I wanted to diversify into, say, an ETF on biofuel or something stupid, I don't know, that shouldn't dominate my portfolio. Just saying. Because when 3 or more makes more sense is when you're doing a couple of things. I know you're going to get down the rabbit hole if you're new. Oh my God, AI, yeah, clean energy, yeah, Bitcoin, yeah. You get the idea. You will fall down the rabbit hole. Oh, gold's doing well. Oil's doing well. Copper, you get the idea. When you're managing large sums of money, you may want more than 3. Just saying. That's an obvious. Another one is if you want small cap exposure separately, like stuff like this. If you're looking at low cap stuff, or if you're looking at certain things or emerging markets, you may want to have a little slice for that, which is not anywhere else, because they're small. They're not in the big funds, if that makes sense. You also got to look at the value side of it and the quality. And as I say, the small cap, you may well find that you are working in an industry that you think, oh, you know what, that could be quite good. I'll put 2%, 3% into an ETF on that, and we'll see what happens. Ride the volatility. It's not going to kill you. And yeah, it's all about, deliberately proportioning up your portfolio into knowledge of what you know. But this doesn't mean more ETFs means better. This is just being more deliberate with your funds because you understand the game. So there is a situation where you could have more than 3. I get it. But the amount of people that message me, just saying, and I was struck. This is the thing. People message me asking me for like a bit of advice, and they would literally list off about 11 or 12 ETFs. I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? So yeah, I understand it. I've been in the crypto market long enough. People do it with altcoins. People do it with stocks as well. If you've been building a portfolio for 20 years, you're going to have a lot of things. If you're brand new, you're not. Now it's time to talk about the overlap. Not the podcast, we're going to talk about the overlap of funds because I think this is where people get it wrong. So what I've done, I've created a simulation for you because I'm sick of influencers telling you to buy these 3 things and it's going to really get on my tits soon. And this is the thing, right? We're talking about diversification. This is what it'll look like. Obviously, I've just added certain amounts. They're all the same amount of stocks, but we've gone for a heavy growth fund with the NASDAQ here. Countries, 64% America. Way. Because what this is the all world funds mixed with the S&P 500 pretty much, and then the NASDAQ. The problem you have, as you can imagine, North America, 91.5%. Cool. It's all pretty much in pounds because it's a British fund, and it's all mainly technology. Because let's look at the holdings. Holdings on the NASDAQ, you got the same 49% top 10 holdings. Yay. Oh, look, we're in the all world fund, 24% top 10 holdings. The exact same thing, pretty much. Oh, and the S&P 500, 39%. Exactly the same, pretty much, give or take, apart from one. Because another thing, as I say, you're going to have how many stocks are in ETFs. Look at how many is in with Nvidia, Apple. All these top ones, ridiculous. So you're always going to get an overlap depending on what they are, for obvious reasons. But I get it. You might think I only own 3 ETFs, but actually, realistically, they're concentrated in, three times. So you might have, like, say, for example, here, you might have, say, 20% weights in Nvidia, for example, over 3 funds, which could be quite scary. So don't make it too crazy. But if you're interested, by the way, Snowball Analytics will help you. What you could do with this, by the way, just a little bit of a tool tip. You can add your portfolio in without the monies, obviously. So if you want to build something, build a watch list, build a simulation, and you'll see your portfolio in real time. So for obvious reasons, yes, what I've done here, I put in 3 very, very clear ones. I'll put in the 3 that I have in a minute, and you'll see the difference. So these here are my 3. And I'm going to showcase it in a little bit more detail of why this is a little bit different, but they're very, very samey. Now, with all these, you got diversifications a little bit different. It's how I have mine, and this isn't fully what my representation is. I have more in the all world dividend high payers, and then I have developed markets and the UK version, all as the same kind of situation. Now, when we talk about how it looks, it's different. You can see very clearly you got America, you got United Kingdom, you got the others. You got a bit of everything across the globe here. In real time, it's a little bit different, and I'll showcase it in more detail with my full portfolio in a second. But those 3 funds, they don't overlap nowhere near as much. Nowhere near, which is what I kind of want. And when we talk about each individual fund, so for example, with the UK version here, which is doing very, very well, you got the top UK stocks, which are paying good dividend yields. And yeah, it works. It's part of the FTSE. FTSE's doing well. And even my individual holdings, not many of them actually feature fully on here as a heavyweight, which is good. Now, again, we look at the all-world high dividend payers. None of them feature realistically from my heavy point. As you can see, the holdings are quite top 10, 11.35%, so it's really good. Obviously, there's still a lot of America. There is some United Kingdom here. So if there is an overlap, it's very, very small. And again, going to the Van Heck one, again, you could argue a little bit of an overlap on, say, a couple of these, but nowhere near as heavy. Yeah, you could argue some of them, but my individual holdings, I don't have them. Some of them are in, if you want to say, in the UK dividend ones, but it's only a little bit. Nothing too alarming, realistically. But in terms of my real life portfolio, this is it. This is currently how it's looking. It's doing very, very well. If we talk about diversification with my individual stocks, you can see very clearly the spread's pretty nice between the funds, and then I've got the individual holdings of each one. So it's pretty neat and tidy. As you can see, most of it is in the UK, others America. So it's quite, I think, spread out. Again, you can talk about the different sectors it's in. It's not just all technology. Quite a lot of it is financials, don't get me wrong, but ultimately it's not crazy. Information technology, quite low, but I know someone's going to have a comment about that at some point. But hey, it is unfortunately my portfolio, and that is my plan. And I know finances are personal, but ultimately that's just kind of how I like it. But at the end of the day, my goal isn't to be complex. I hold Bitcoin. That is my volatility kind of stack. And I want to build wealth with this over time without worrying too much about it and build nicely. But if you want to learn more and do more, I've built a website. There's a link below. But I want to showcase a little tool here. So stick with me, because I'm building some pretty crazy stuff. I've created something called Your Investment Mate, and it's going to hopefully help you build information and knowledge about your own portfolio. Now you can put, say, the All World Fund in here as well and just showcase certain red flags. So be it. So what this gives me is all the information. It also explains it like a 7-year-old. It's pretty neat and tidy, as you can see here. A big investment fund. It shares its funds with many companies, covers the whole world, and you can read its rules online. This is for learning, not advice. It is quite obvious. But again, it will talk about the obvious concentration in the US market, the owner test, how broad is it, all that kind of good stuff. What type of thing is it? Cash management, obviously, it's an accumulation fund, so it's not going to have certain things in there. What is it? It's for probably a growth investor over the course of time. It makes sense. Now, this will hopefully give you all the information and all the knowledge that you need, as well as where you can actually buy the bloody thing. So it's a simple tool. It's for members only at the minute in terms of email members. So if you want to get access, you need to put your email in to get there. yourmoneymate.co.uk. There's a link below. There's other bits and pieces. There's a beginner course here. There's an investment calculator. There's all kinds of articles. There's a lot of stuff coming. I'm building 2 other little tools as well. One mainly about risk management and also another one which I not fully concluded what I'm doing yet, but I've got a few ideas in the pan. If you want to jump in, have a little play around, you can do that. It's all totally there. You can do individual stocks. You can do whatever. And yeah, it's pretty awesome. But yeah, I'm going to finish with this one little quote here and a point that I've kind of alluded to it. You don't need loads of ETFs, you just need more time. You do. You need 20 years sitting in something that's pretty good. And I think that over the course of time, crashes, whatever, and reinvesting at good points will do well for you. But if you've not watched my video on all the type of ETFs you should be looking at and considering, there's a video here. It goes through literally 10 different types and different tickers and all kinds of stuff. So if you want to build a portfolio, that's a video to watch.